Hi everyone, welcome to another Escapement show, and we're all here. Myself, JCB, Abdul, and we've got a special guest, Jonathan Quell Higgins. Welcome. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Hello.
Yeah, we're here to talk
Hello,
about
everyone.
Hi, everyone.
hi everyone. We're here to talk about the GPHG watches, the prizes that happened the other week, and recently, and
Yeah,
there were
a couple of weeks ago now, but we're on a fortnightly show, so we're sort of a little bit behind, but still good to have a look at the pieces, I think, and there's a few interesting things there. So
yeah. There are lots of prize winners and very worthy ones, and but we just thought we'd bring our own take and choose some of our own options that we thought we might be a bit different. There's we haven't got all of the categories. We've missed out the chronometry prize, the horological revelation prize, the audacity prize, the innovation prize, and the special jury prize. And but we've got most of the watches that were featured, and
I think these categories are just made because there are so many watches that deserve to win. So the judges were like, okay, we'll make an audacity prize. Bulgari has to win something every year, so Bulgari gets it. and I think also
I have that feeling as well, that they are trying to keep some of the big manufacturers happy.
Yeah, like Tudor every year it goes in, it wins. Like it has to win at least one prize.
Yeah.
Bulgari the same. I think Bulgari, since they made the Octo line, they won every year one award for one of their Octo complications, which is crazy. Hermes is practically winning also a lot the couple of years.
That's correct, Abdul. Hermes are featuring a lot now since the H08 and
well, with Hermes, it's funny that basically the same watch wins two prizes.
Yeah,
this year.
Two different sizes. It's just crazy.
Do you think, does it make you question sort of the judging or the prizes? A lot of people say that it's rigged or that there is some bias or favoritism going on at least. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I think so. I think there's a lot of politics involved in the whole selection situation, and a lot of people to get happy to give them some kind of bone. And there are watches, of course, that like with no doubt, I know they won because of their merit, like the Kronefeld chronograph or Recep Recepi. But some other watches like the Hermes, like you said, Jonathan, two of the same watches won men's and women's. What? Same watch?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I've been in Geneva last weekend, and it's just mind blowing how close everybody is together. So there is no surprise that there is some kind of incest going on. So everybody knows everybody. Everybody is depending on everybody, and so you don't expect a neutral opinion on this kind of stuff when your jury is set by industry leaders from this industry. I think it was a good time when those chronometry competitions were done in Neuchâtel and not in Geneva.
Right.
So I think that was a good thing, because Neuchâtel is a little bit remote from all this hot point or hotspot. So I'm reading a lot of criticism that watch companies have to pay to enter. I think the entry fee in the first step is $700 US or 700 Swiss francs.
Wow,
exactly.
For every watch that you have, and when you're then nominated, I think it goes up to 5,000 or something.
Wow.
So there is some criticism, but on the other hand, those events are bloody expensive. So who do you expect to pay for that?
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's very good money spent. If you are having a watch project or a little watch company and you want to showcase what you're doing and your products, I think 700 Swiss francs is well spent money because you get a lot of coverage.
It's nothing really. I didn't think it was that much. Like it was that cheap. Like that's nothing really. $700 and you get all of that exposure. Like that's crazy.
I disagree with that criticism that people say, you have to pay. One problem is that the big guys like Patek or Rolex are not participating. On the other hand, just like we discussed, with this kind of incestual situation, probably Rolex would win every day or every year many prizes then just to keep them happy. So I'm not sure if I'm happy or sad that Rolex and Patek are not participating.
Yeah. Hey Flip.
Yeah, good.
Hey Orange.
Yeah. Boys, good to see you. Yeah.
That's an interesting point, Jonathan. Yeah, they may be sort of buttered up to keep them happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everybody will bow down in front of them, so nobody will dare not to elect them, because many of those companies are also interdependent on Rolex and Patek. So the last weekend really opened my eyes again how fancy and fantastic independent watchmaking is. And I'm really happy that something like the GPHG exists that showcases some of those marvelous little small genius companies. So I'm happy with it is what it is, and to sacrifice that, I'll give Hermes 2 prizes, no problem. So I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah. Well, we'll crack on and with our picks, and we go straight to the ladies' complication. Now, JCB.
It's funny.
The one that won was the Parmigiani Tonda. This one.
Yeah, the Tonda.
One that won.
So what's going on here? It's got it's like pink gold or something, or it looks like baguettes on the dial.
Yeah.
But there's nothing really special about the piece besides that. Like there's no real complication or anything with this one. So interesting. I was having a look at these before, and it's weird. Like we're guys looking at these ladies' watches, trying to sort of like critique them. I suppose we're not the target audience for these watches, but I've got to tell you, if I saw a lady wearing the Harley Quinn by Konstantin Chaikin, I would be all over that, if you know what I mean. So I think that's a pretty cool piece. Again, I mean, the Joker line from Chaikin has been around for, I don't know, a long time now, maybe 10 years at least, I would say. So not a particularly not a new watch in terms of concept, but a new design with the Harley Quinn piece. So I thought that was really cool. I'm a big sucker for the Chaikin pieces. I think they're really cool.
Well, yeah.
The other one that just caught my eye the most was actually the Arnold and Son, the Perpetual Moon, the top one up there. I'm a big fan of Arnold and Son as well. I just love pretty much everything they do. I think they're a great manufacturer, and they just have great designs. The finishing is fantastic. My only problem is the size of the watches. I think this one is 38 mil or something. Was it 30? Maybe 36.
38.
Yeah, it's 38. So, I mean, I personally think ladies' watches should be in the 30 to 36 sort of range. That's because otherwise, if it's too big, like it just sort of loses the femininity, I think. I prefer when I see a lady, I like the lady to look feminine, and everything should be feminine, including the watch. If it's too big, it looks out of place, and that's why I don't dig when I see ladies wearing Submariners and that sort of stuff. It just doesn't look right. Call me old fashioned or whatever. I don't care. But that's just how I am as a dude. I want to see a lady wearing a feminine piece. You know what I mean? This watch looks unreal. I mean, look at all the work, the jewelry, and the stones, and how it's been set, and obviously the moon as well. Just a smashing piece. Just wish it was a little bit. If it was 36, it would be perfect. 38, I just sort of feel like it's getting into men's watch territory, but that's my only critique of that one. So yeah, I think the Chaikin and this one, I much prefer these pieces to the Parmigiani. I mean, we saw how boring is the Parmigiani. Like, yeah, sure, it's a nice watch, but compared to this, I mean, look how much is going on here. This is so much better. I mean, it just in terms of an artistic, it's artisan watchmaking, and that's what to me I like about the feminine, the female categories in GPHG generally, and historically, the pieces that I've gravitated towards have been these really artistic jewelry pieces, because it's really putting on show. It's really putting the watchmaking skill and the artistic skill on show, and that's what when I see a nice lady, I like to see, I like to see the jewelry, and I like to see them dressed up, and I like to see all the embellishments, that's what sort of, draws my eyes as a dude. I don't want to see a chick wearing like a singlet and shorts and thongs, I want to see all the crazy stuff going on, So yeah, I think this piece was really cool.
Yeah, I think it's a lovely piece. I mean, don't know what everyone else thinks.
Yeah, I think it's incredible. I definitely choose the Arnold and Son over the other pieces. The Scheiken is a close second because I really like it, but the gem setting, the moon, the whole design of this watch is just perfect. And I think they might have done it 38 for better legibility, because if you do it at 36 with such a busy dial, maybe ladies in their 50, let's say, are buying these watches because it's a pretty hefty bill on the watch as well. So they will need to, let's say, not wear glasses to read the watch. Like if you have a Cartier tank or something, the smaller ones, it would be not so legible for them. Like if it's a bigger watch, that might be why they would have done it in a bigger case.
Not only that, you have to keep in mind that jewelry work on the dial and on that moon phase, that needs space. So you have a certain level of thickness on the watch. So if you make it too small, it looks really chubby. And so I think they played with the idea of making it 36 or 34, but in the end chose then 38 because the proportions will be good. I try to disagree a little bit with you, JCB, not because I like to stir up the shit, but I said it on a previous Swiss and John show. If we are not treating ladies' watches a little bit in a cliched kind of way, so we are treating women just like little princesses that need a little pink here and a little bit blingy here. And I will defend the Parmigiani a little bit because this is a technically very good watch, just like it would be with a man's watch. It offers a different visual, and it treats woman like woman and not like little princesses, while many of those jeweled watches are treating them as princesses. But you can call me a hypocrite because my favorite watch is a total princess watch. So we will come later to that. So I'm not trying to destroy anybody with my argument. I'm just trying to give a line of thought.
And similarly, what I was saying was a really gross generalization as well. It's not like I'm not saying all women should wear these jewelry watches. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that I can appreciate, like, if you just put the two side by side, it's more about appreciating the craftsmanship and the work that goes into these jewelry pieces. It's just more, I think, it's sort of more of that sort of sentiment rather than stereotyping women to have to wear a particular style of watch. That's certainly not what I'm saying or suggesting.
Yeah, I mean, I went for a princess watch. I like this most of all, the Chaumet de Filon Secret Hand.
That is Swiss favorite as well.
This is a hand engraved black and gold finish, capturing waves in full motion. And this actually goes from being the waves on the dial and the splash of the diamonds fold over onto the dial, and
wow,
it's amazing. Limited to 3 pieces. The diamond wave folds over.
Okay, cool.
True jewelry for women with class, I think. It's the secret wave. This is, and going back to size, this is 30 millimeters. So
yeah.
So no, sorry, 28 millimeters. Is it? No, 30.
I think 30. Yeah, 30. Yeah.
When I was in Geneva last weekend, all those contestants have been displayed in a certain museum in Geneva, and it was blowing my mind because I was expecting those watches being displayed behind glass. But basically they are displayed on bangles, just like they are used in jewelers' windows. And then there is a long pole going up, and the pole is fixed on the ceiling. So you can really approach those watches step by step, and you can really experience them. So the first watch that Swiss and I were approaching was this particular watch. So we went to this particular watch, and of course the first thing that Swiss did was folding that tail over. So, and that gave us the first strike from the guards, because you're not supposed to touch those, which we didn't know. But the situation escalated then even further, and I just remember Swiss folded that thing over, and he told me, "Oh, I love this so much." And then you can imagine the angry views from the guards there. That was really funny.
That's funny.
Yeah. So move on from the ladies to the ladies' complication. And
What
Hermes? The winner was the Hermes. One of the
Hermes. Does anyone know how to pronounce the name of this watch?
Hermes.
The name.
I think it's spelled Arceau, because the line is called Arceau, right. And then Le Temps Voyageur, which means the traveling time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So this world timer.
World timer, and the dial rotates around. Well, the timing dial rotates around the world time dial, depending on the city that you're set your time to, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So this one is a steel watch. The ladies' one is a steel. The men's one that won is a platinum and titanium piece. I find that's sort of interesting. I think that you've got two very different metals that have been used in the ladies and the men's. For a start, I think that's just interesting in itself. I would have thought for a ladies' luxury piece, they would have gone for white gold or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, possibly, but I suppose
I think because of its travel time, and I think they were going for function over look, because the watch is small, light with the steel, and it's very easy to use. So I think they were like thinking about, okay, we made a small watch that it's not heavy. If we make it with the precious metal, it would be more heavier, and ladies could wear it while traveling anywhere. And I actually think they sell this watch as a unisex because it's just two sizes, 38 and a larger one, 36 and a larger one, I think.
So what was the pick in? What did you go for instead?
So I had the one that jumped out at me the most here as just being the most interesting piece, I thought, was the Van Cleef and Arpels. Actually, this is the they call it the Heure Florale Cerisier. Now I found a video on YouTube. What I might do is, Thomas, if I can just share screen, I might bring it up. If you can just click on the little thing there. What it does is, so there's 12 flowers on the dial, and what it does is it opens up really crazy piece, the mechanics, a lot going on here, and you can see there, so it opens up, the flowers open up, the number of flowers that are open is the hours.
Yeah.
So there's like, then there's a retrograde timer on the side. So you can see it opening up there. Really cool, really cool piece. Very technically, advanced piece. Just a stunning. It's a work of art, a real art piece. This one, and I think it's just amazing. So beautiful piece.
I think they even won a prize. This watch won some
ladies'
of the
complication.
No, I think the ladies' complication was to another watch, but the Hermes. But this one, it won even a higher one. One of the ones that we didn't choose of the judges' ones.
Right.
Right. It won something, but I don't remember the name of it. It's an amazing piece. Amazing.
This is my absolute favorite. It is a shame and a scandal that this watch didn't win, because this is my favorite since it has been introduced. Keep in mind, I'm trying to upload the video that Swiss and I did, because of course we had to touch this watch. That was number 2, and that gave us the second strike. and it is just mind blowing. At the end of the hour, all the flowers close, and at the beginning of the new hour, some of the flowers open. Not simultaneously. They open a little bit after each other, and they show the number then of hours, the minutes you can see. You can see on that retrograde scale, or it's I don't think that it's retrograde. It may be. So you can see that on the scale behind. But this mechanical marvel is so romantic. It is so cool. It is so outstanding and mind-blowing. I find it a scandal that this watch didn't win.
Yeah, it won the innovation prize. I just looked. They gave it one of the, let's say, the 4 prizes that they had in their pocket to give watches that they couldn't give in their categories. And I think it's let's say well-deserved prize to get for such an innovative watch. You get the innovation prize.
Thomas, I tried to upload the video that Swiss and I made. Not sure if it works. Can you give me access to the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, let me try it. No, you can't see it. I can hear the noise, but I can't see it, unfortunately. Too bad.
Oh, wow.
I apologize. Yeah. But let me try to upload that video, and I'll give it then to you at a later point of time.
So this is your choice, JCB. I mean, I must say, I went with the Chaumet. I love this Chaumet. It's yellow gold with brilliant diamonds and rose cut rubelite dial. And this is a little the hours are indicated by a central crescent diamond, and the minutes by the garnets revolving on the dial. And it's a unique piece, but it's 42 mils, so it's big for a lady's piece, like you were saying, and it's 16.3 thick.
Yeah, this was the other interesting piece, obviously, in the field for this category. Yeah, I just wasn't sure. I couldn't figure out how to tell the time on it, to be honest.
This little diamond on the end of this crescent here is the hour. So say it's telling 10 past 10.
o'clock. Okay, it's 10 past. Okay, gotcha. Right.
Yeah,
cool. So they move around. Yeah, interesting piece. I don't mind this one as well. It's there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
And yeah, the size is it's pretty. It's pretty big.
Yeah, it's 16.3 thick. That's like that's really.
I mean, that's too big for guys to wear. What woman is really going to look like?
I think that might be an ankle watch. You know, you can wear it on their ankles.
Yeah, but the Hermes.
The other pieces, didn't really do much for me. But this one, I mean, I'm with Jonathan Shawley on this one. It's an amazing piece, definitely. And you see, I saw there's another video. Waco did an interview with the Van Cleef guys, and you can really see the watch, in the live pics, and it is stunning. It's it's amazing, really cool piece.
I've just uploaded the video on my YouTube page, and I'm now trying to display it here.
Orange Hand says the Hermes beat out some heavy hitters, practically watch great design. Those had more wow. Yeah, true. Good point, Orange Hand.
I think because of the innovation prize that Van Cleef and Arpels won, it cleared up a little bit. Okay, let's give the one complication for women this time to a watch that goes for function more than goes for the wow effect, which this one definitely does. Like, if you find a lady wearing this watch, you will be definitely wanting to talk to her and see the watch on her wrist, because it's an amazing
100%.
piece.
Yeah.
So here you see how the watches are displayed at that price. So you can really access them, and of course we did. So 1 second.
Oh wow!
Wow.
So now the full hour comes. All flowers are closing.
Wow.
So do you guys think it was worth the second strike?
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
That's stunning, isn't it? It's just how you'd have to stand there counting up all these flowers to tell the hours, wouldn't you?
You have to count them.
It really is a bit of jewelry, a bit of artwork, isn't it? It really is art.
I think that's why also, if I was a judge, I would be like, this watch shouldn't be the women's complication, because it's better than that. Like women's complication, from their mindset, from what I understand, that they gave it for a watch that's more function than design, and this is just pure design. Because who would have to count 1, 2, 3, 5? It's 10. And I have to look at the minutes. 10. It will take so much time just to know the time.
I know. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's fascinating, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks for sharing that. Really,
Thank you.
nice.
Yeah, I think it was worth getting the guards mad. I hope that not everybody is doing that, because otherwise the watch will be... Yeah, J. Gray Sweater makes a good comment. Don't ask for permission, beg for forgiveness after the fact.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like that point, Jay. Good one.
I love everything about that watch, with the exception of the price.
Yeah, Van Cleef and Arpels, big pieces are like they won 2 prizes, this one and the clock one, and I think the clock one was they were asking 5 to 10 million, something like that, for one of one, which
so
is.
this one is 247, and I just when I came back from Geneva, I just thought how privileged we've been. Just have a look at all those amazing, mind-blowing watches. I'll give you an example. I've been recently in Monaco, and there is a Van Cleef and Arpels boutique there, just next to the casino. And I went inside and asked if I can see this Floreal or Floral Cerisier watch. And of course, they don't have it. So even if you have a boutique that carries all those watches, those are the most high in demand watches that you could imagine. So seeing those 50 pieces at one place, really close, is just outstanding, because you can't have that anywhere in the world, because most of the ADs will tell you, sold out, we don't have it, or you can't see it. And and we met some people who traveled a long way down to Geneva just for the purpose of having a look at all those watches in that museum, and particularly watchmaker students. I met some watchmaker students, I think from Singapore, who came to Geneva just for the GPHG and just to see those watches.
Wow. Blimey.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point, like, and it's like down here in Australia, this is even the worst place. We hardly get access to any of this stuff. So if you can get everything in one place at the one time, I mean, you would, if it took you half a day to drive, you would do it for sure. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, great idea, and it's a really great opportunity that you could go and have a look at the pieces. Really cool.
Yeah, I for sure will be there next year just for the GPHG watches to see. In my opinion, that's worth alone the trip down to Geneva, just for that sole purpose.
So move on from the ladies' complication, JCB, to the men's. Now, you're a big Akrivia fan, and this one won.
Yeah, huge Akrivia fan. I've been following these guys since they established their brand and their manufacturer. It's a long time ago now. I think maybe over 10 years ago. And I was really happy in 2018 when Recepi won the men's prize, and again he's won it here with the number 2, the CC2. And this watch, Chronometra Contemporary
2,
number 2, CC2. Let's just call it the CC2 for short, shall we? So look, out of all these ones, look, it's the cool thing about the watch is that, I mean, I think it looks absolutely fantastic. The way he's designed it, it really is unique, but it's got a lot of traditional elements as well. It's art deco, but it's contemporary at the same time. It's a great size, really thin, 8.75 mil. The size is great dress watch size at 38 mil. So I mean, it's just everything about the watch is just it's an amazing piece. And I think it's great that he's won it again. He's obviously the darling of the watch industry, so I think he's getting, it's sort of like, sort of like it's there. It's sort of his to lose, really, if I could put it that way. And it's sort of like the judges would, they all love the guy, obviously, so they've got to give him the gong for this category. But yeah, I mean, still, I mean, it's a deserving piece, though. I don't think it's not deserving.
You said you preferred the first model, the first iteration.
I like the looks of the first one but this one is a much better technically piece. So he's redesigned the movement, so it's now got a deadbeat second complication. And when you pull the crown out, the seconds resets to 0, so that you can, when you're setting the time, you get precise time setting as well. So that stuff, it doesn't sound complicated, but to put that into mechanics, I believe it's really complicated. I'm not a watchmaker, I don't know, but from what I've heard and from what I've read, that stuff is fucking hard to do. So the fact that he's done that in this piece and made it look so good, both on the front and the back side, the movement is, symmetrical. It's got this symmetry. It's really well thought out. It's just, he's just got his full watchmaking, artery, arsenal, I should say, on show in this piece. So I think it's just a fantastic piece. It's
so sticking with this one then.
Yeah, I'm sticking with this one, definitely. Yeah. Look, there's some more interesting looking pieces, but I think this one as a package, this is the one I would wear. I would wear this one. I would buy this. I would spend my money on this without a doubt.
Have you seen the movement ever in real life?
Not in real life, Jonathan. No, I haven't seen. I've never seen the watch in real life, to be honest. So I don't know. But from what I've seen in macro photos and that sort of stuff, it looks fantastic. So.
Yeah,
Swiss and I, we were tempted to remove that watch from that bangle and just have a look at the movement. But I'm pretty sure the guards would have killed us.
So, Jonathan, Karen.
But the watch looks stunning in real life. I must say it's really amazing. It's the first time that I've seen it in real life. I have regrets that I couldn't see the movement. But I have a little bit of criticism, and that has been voiced about this particular watch. The lugs are really long.
They're long. Yeah.
It's like the Nomos. So they are 38, but they wear like a 42.
Yeah, the watch is relatively small, and the lugs are huge. I would like to point out, because we will forget about that, there was one watch that looked even better than the Recipe. And Thomas, maybe you can go back to the men's category for a second, because in my opinion, that watch is so much overlooked. And I know I have my beef with Marco, who says this is a money grab. There's a Zenith caliber. That watch looks amazing in real life. That looks better than the Recipe. It was absolutely fascinating how beautiful that watch looked.
This was my really second, close second in this category. I'm a huge Zenith fan, and with these watches, they had these. They had about, I think it was about 80 or 50 of the Lamania movements that have been kept in a safe for like the last 50 years or something.
Those are Zenith.
Yeah, that's right. It's a Zenith. This is a Zenith movement that. It's a Lamania movement, I believe. Hang on one sec.
I think it's a competition movement by Zenith.
Caliber 135, maybe.
Yeah,
that's the. Yeah, but what I noticed now, that's like depicting of the era that we live in, that Grail watches are now time-only watches. Like the Recipe for me is a Grail watch. I love it through and through. Everything about it. The guy is amazing. Every time I met him in Baselworld, he showed me the watch. He talked. We had like a lot of interesting conversations, and he's so humble and such a great guy that you really want him to win as well. But there was another watch, this Sylvain Pinot, I guess. What's the name of it? This is fantastic watch, fantastic, and I think it won the Horological Revelation Prize because it's an amazing watch. The one that this one.
I wanted to like this one, but I couldn't tell the time on it. So
I agree with you. Swiss is such a big fan of Trilob, and I just hate them. And that globe is really massive. It looks like a snow. You know those snowballs a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Snow globe.
So-
Yeah.
the
but I
snowballs.
agree with Abdul. This Sylvian Pinard, this Emmanuel Wine, silvered hand angle 3-piece tile. It's regulated placed to the front of the dial, rose gold hands and rose gold bridges to match. And he says that he wanted to create an elegant watch that could be worn every day. And the main plate and bridges are made from German silver and handmade, inscribed on a dial. And it's absolutely gorgeous. I really like this Abdul myself. I would have gone for this. Yeah.
And I thank God that the judges had these 4 prizes, let's say, that are uncategorized without any selection, that they could give these watches, that you get the recognition for someone like Sylvain, but as well give Recep his recognition for the watch he created as well.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's a really good looking watch, that one as well. The Sylvain Pinard. Yeah, it's a nice piece.
Swiss and I, we both agreed that that bridge in the middle could have a little bit more attention. I think he could have worked a little bit on that.
A bit more
bridge.
decoration, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was the one I would have opted for. Just to be devil's advocate and not pick the prize winner. So
you know the Parmigiani, I like the women's one more than the men's one somehow.
Really?
Yeah.
You like the gold indices, the diamond indices, sorry.
The diamond indices just work somehow more than these ones.
I've tried on the PF Tonda and it's beautiful. I love it. I'm a really big fan of the this one.
What Parmigiani certainly achieved
really thin
was
as well. Mm-hmm. This one, 7.8 mil. Look at that.
Wow.
Like how that's unreal.
It's amazing, honestly.
Yeah.
Parmigiani achieved to integrate that bracelet much better than Lange with the Odysseus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It feels like the better, more innovative version of let's say a date.
Mm.
You know, like has this very elegant look, feel integrated bracelet, and I like this sharp, let's say, fixed bezel that they have.
Yeah, platinum bezel. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Well, it's a 3-hander sports watch for a king.
Yeah,
that's basically what it is.
Yeah,
I'd much prefer it to a Rolex myself, but I don't have the money for either. So move on to men's complication, JCB, and the Hermes took it.
The Hermes. What I like the dimensions of this watch. I think it'd be really wearable, 41 and 12.5 mil. They've done it in platinum and titanium, as I was sort of saying before, and it looks cool with that. I'm not sure what the bezel material is. I think that's sort of maybe blackened titanium or something. It looks pretty funky. Like the color way, it's really stealth, but it's a platinum piece. It's got a platinum case as well, so it's sort of this stealth wealth sort of piece. It's pretty cool. I don't mind this watch. I'd wear it. I'd definitely wear it. Yeah.
Did you have another favorite?
The other one that I liked here was the Beauvais, the Virtuoso 5.
Me too, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big Beauvais fan. I know a lot of people don't like them because of they've got the pocket watch design and the removable links up at the top, which is what you use to convert the watch into like a pocket watch, and you can convert it into a desk clock and all that sort of stuff. But so I think if you click on that next photo, you can sort of see what I'm talking about a bit more. You can see the bracelet, how it connects up to the the case at the top. A lot of people don't like that design, and I think when it's on the wrist, it looks a lot better than what it does just floating in space like this.
Yeah.
But with this one, I sort of take points off because it's not a new watch for Beauvais. They've had this watch in their line for quite some time. The only difference here is that they've brought it out in a titanium case, and the salmon dial I think is new as well. So I'm sort of this is the we're talking about the complication category, so it's not really like a new complication. So that's sort of why I sort of taking some points off. But as a piece, it's unreal. I mean, look at that. It's a dual time. So you've got on one side you've got jumping hours with retrograde minutes, and then on the other side you flip the watch over, and you've got another time with a traditional dial.
I'm all over. I'm all over it.
Yeah, it's grouse, isn't it? Yeah,
just like jumping out and retrograde on one side, and then flip it over and have the an analog time, on the normal display on the other side. It's just fascinating.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, it is. It's grouse. Yeah, I mean, I much prefer this over the Hermes.
What does everyone else think of this one?
Yeah.
Really nice, really nice watch. But I would have chosen either the Tonda, the GMT Retropont.
The GMT Retropont.
Yeah, or the Arnold & Son, because the Arnold & Son has also a new innovative way of telling the date. But for me, the Parmigiani would be the perfect travel watch, because you can just, let's say, travel somewhere, know the time, and then when you don't need to see the other time, you just hide it under the hour's hand, and then you have a normal two-hander.
Sure.
Let's say.
Yeah.
I like that. It's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool piece, this one. Yeah.
It's like the way Patek do with their travel time on their pilot's watch, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The skeletonized GMT.
What is really nice is how Parmigiani integrated that, so you can have it totally invisible when you don't need it. So
yeah,
very subdued.
Did you have any favorites, Jonathan?
I personally like the Armin Strom a little bit better than the Parmigiani. I agree that the Beauvais is nice, but I can't get over that luck on the top. I know that it's supposed to be a pocket watch and hanging on a chain and whatever. I just can't love it. I apologize. This is not my thing.
Don't need to apologize. You like what you like. Yeah.
Other than that, it's a beautiful watch. I like that combination with titanium case and salmon dial, and the functionality is also nice. It's just that bloody luck on the top.
This is an interesting piece, actually. What they've done here is done this new date complication where you press the crown and the hand jumps to whatever the date is.
Point to date,
so sort of like a point to date, and you can, if you press it again, it'll scoot back to the top. So you can have it either at the top, or you can just press the button and it'll just stay at the date, and it'll move with the day. It'll tick over. So yeah, it's sort of interesting. No one's really come up with any date complications in like who messes with the date, you know what I mean? Like no one gives us any new date complications, and they've come up with something pretty innovative here. So yeah, I think just that in itself is quite interesting. The fact that they've decided to look at the date complication and give us something different. And the watch looks unreal too. I mean, look at that, it's stunning looking piece. I'd wear that any day.
Yeah.
Real cool.
So they were JCB's picks. We'll move on to Abdul's picks. Iconic watch. Now the iconic watch was the I can't believe it. What won? The Tag Heuer Monaco Gulf.
Yeah, I think the iconic prize is just like a cyclical prize that the judges made to let's say, satisfy the egos of some of the brands. The couple of years also always Audemars Piguet wins, Breitling, some stuff like this that you feel like, okay, this is like a compensation prize for the executive, the CEO of the company that came to the party, and they would just doesn't want him to go empty-handed, because there is nothing. I'm not a big fan of the Monaco. Just it doesn't make anything for me, like I would rather wear any of the other 6 watches than the Monaco, to be honest.
Yeah.
Everybody in the chat.
Yeah.
Like I chose actually the Breitling because I'm not a big fan of Breitling, to be honest. Never was. But this one, the one that this is like a turning point for Breitling. This is when they started getting out these colorways, cleaning up the dial, making it more legible, smaller, more, let's say, robust, because we all know Breitlings in the past weren't the most robust watches. And I think this is just like a turning point, getting Breitling back into track to where they're supposed to be.
Yeah. Interesting one.
Which one was your guys? Did you pick?
Did you pick the Tag Heuer Golf then?
No, I picked the Breitling, the Navitimer B01.
Yeah. Sorry,
yes,
I'll highlight that one.
Yes, this one, because I, like I said, I was never a fan of Breitling. I never had the Breitling watch. I never liked them, but somehow this watch is appealing. Somehow, I don't know why. It just looks appealing. Maybe the colorway.
That watch looks beautiful in real life.
Ice blue dial is nice, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Clean dial.
I tried that on last summer, and it was mind blowing. It was really nice. But my favorite was a different watch for the iconic category. And maybe I'm now ruining my reputation for being a real watch lover. My heart goes out to Gérard Perregaux.
Mine was the Casquette as well, Jonathan.
Oh, I love this watch. It's just 3,000 Swiss francs too expensive.
Yeah, the Casquette is just brilliant. 820 limited pieces. Upholds design language, the original, but now ceramic. It's now got a ceramic and titanium case with new equipment, and it's originally brought out in 1976 to 78, and they made 8,200 examples, and this one's limited to 820 examples. So,
Thomas, you and I, we are the old farts here in the podium, and we remember both. We remember both how cool LED watches were back then. Everybody thought that is the future. Nobody will bother to have a watch with hands anymore. That was super cool.
Beautiful. Ceramic bracelet tells the day, the month, the year, the dual time, chronograph, hours, minutes, seconds, date, and it's got a secret date as well.
Yep.
It's a very ergonomic case, I think, and I love it, Jonathan. I don't know what everyone else thinks of this one.
But would you pay 7,000 or 8,000 on such a watch?
I wouldn't. No. I like 4,500 Swiss francs. This one.
Is it? I thought it's a little bit more. 1 second, let me check. Oh, 4,500. Yeah. I've just been checking, and I've seen them for 7,000 going. Maybe they are sold out and now selling over.
Sold out, and then they're just price gouging. I like it a lot, but I don't think it can ever win an iconic watch, because GPHG's horology, and for the iconic watch to be won by a quartz, that would be a little bit controversial, let's say.
It's part of the history of Swiss watchmaking.
Of course.
It's the dirty history, but
exactly.
It almost brought them down on their knees. So I think it's part of the history. They should embrace it.
Yeah, I don't think it's the Swiss way to do.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
they tend to put that under the carpet.
The top 6, but no, you won't win. Even though everybody loves it, it looks amazing. If you see it, it's the word iconic is iconic for the 70s, but no, it won't win because it's quartz.
Yeah, I really like it. I don't know. What do you think, JCB?
Oh yeah, I like this watch. I like it a lot. Sort of feel like they should have made the writing a little bit thicker, like where the time is. See how the lines are quite thin? Because I remember seeing the photos when it came out, and that was the first thing that I thought of. Was like, oh, the writing should have just been a little bit thicker. That's my only criticism. But other than that, it's a super cool piece. Yeah, I love this watch. But my pick for the Icon series is going with the Breitling as well, the Navitimer, and basically for the same reasons as Abdul was saying. I think it's just, you know, the Navitimer is an iconic piece, and they've updated it and made it relevant again. And you see a lot of people really getting back into the brand and really getting back into Navitimer now, and particularly because of this one, this ice blue piece. You know, a lot of people are.
It's got classic Navitimer. It's got classic Navitimer size as well. It's a 43, isn't it? So it's
traditionally they're 42. They're a little bit smaller. Right. Yeah. So, but yeah, 1 mil, big deal. You know,
big size of Navitimer. You know, it's.
But the Navitimer also comes in a 46 as well. So it's, you know, and a lot of people go for the 46 too. Wow. So yeah, they like the bigger. You know, it doesn't wear like a 46. The Navitimer 46. It wears more like a little bit smaller, like 40. You know, like a 44, 45. It's sort of, yeah. It doesn't. It's not super huge. So this 43 is it's a pretty good size, I reckon.
Yeah.
The movement in there is quite big, so that's why they bring out these when the B01 caliber was introduced, all of the pieces were generally 43 and above. After that they started to bring out some smaller cases like the 42 in the Premier line. But generally, the Navitimer has stayed 43 mil with the B01 caliber.
Yeah.
What the people that are interested in Navitimers should keep in mind is that is not a bezel. That is basically the entire crystal that is rotating, that is turning around. And this construction is very difficult to get permanently water resistant. So you have to keep that in mind when you're interested in the Navitimer.
Yeah. I think that's probably one of the reasons why people would get put off by ultimately purchasing a Navitimer. I think 30 meters water resistant. Probably a lot of people would just sort of balk at that. I can see that as it being an issue. It wouldn't be for me personally, but I could see how it would be an issue for people.
Yeah, no, Mason wants a big Navitimer fan. He wants a new style 46 mil. They don't have a colour that he fancies yet, but he'll have to wait until they come out with something interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. They'll come out with something soon, mate.
Yeah,
they're doing a good job, I have to say.
So we'll move on to the Tourbillon Prize.
Yeah, this category is definitely one of the hardest categories that I really like. Which one?
This won the prize, the Moser Cylindrical Tourbillon Skeleton, which is a worthy winner. It's a beautiful watch. It's a lovely one.
Yeah, really like it.
Love this piece. Yeah. Love it.
I know you like this, JCB, don't you?
Yeah. It's one of my favorite pieces of the year. Like, period. Unreal. Just love it. Yeah, everything about it. It's just great.
Yeah, I really like this watch as well. But my choice was actually the Grand Seiko, just
Me
because
too. Me
it's
too.
a step above. Like the Grubel Force is something in its own. But when I saw this one, it's just something
Yeah.
that mesmerizing. Like you see it and you're like, is Grand Seiko is doing something like this? This is not typical Grand Seiko style. Like I would have expected maybe a Crador to be a little bit near to this mechanical complexity, but this just like upped the level, I have to say.
Yeah, I saw this at Watch Pro, and it was fascinating. The inner tourbillon carriage rotates smoothly as the balance steadily vibrates at 8 beats per second, and the outer constant force carriage follows its rotation exactly on 1 second intervals to create a precise rhythm that they say this was in the jargon below. In music terminology, resembles a 16th note or semiquaver. The name Kodo means heartbeat in Japanese, and so the tourbillon ticks once a second. So it is fascinating to see when I saw this watch. Yeah, it was
there is a remontoire behind it. That is
Yep.
the trick of this particular watch. There is a 1 second remontoire behind.
Right, Jonathan. I didn't realize that. Right.
So I had a hard time to decide between the Grand Seiko and the Gröbel Forcé, because everything Gröbel Forcé to me is a winner. But the Grand Seiko adds that additional complication with a remontoire. So I had a hard time to decide. And to combine a tourbillon with constant force, there are two ways to do. First of all, the remontoire, and if I remember, the Grand Seiko is the first remontoire tourbillon, if I remember correctly. I don't know anyone else. The other way to do a constant force is to have a fusée chaîne, which is then done by Ferdinand Berthoud or by Lange and Söhne.
Yeah.
So that is super high level watchmaking, combining those two complications. And if you put a gun on my head and have me design between the Grand Seiko and the Gröbel Forcé, I would go for the Grand Seiko.
Yeah, you like the Gröbel Forcé though, this one.
I like everything that is done by Gröbel Forcé. In my opinion, Gröbel Forcé at the moment is the epitome of watchmaking. Nobody beats Gröbel Forcé.
Yeah,
hands down.
Yeah. I know that they really, like you say, they are the epitome of watchmaking, but I just don't like some of their designs. Some of the designs are a bit. Yeah, I didn't like the balance.
Progressive.
I didn't like progressive. Too progressive. I didn't like the balance with its.
How about the handmade one?
The handmade one is just amazing.
The handmade one is just amazing. Yeah, that's
phenomenal.
One of my all-time favorites. Yeah. I think this one is geared towards people that are wearing like RM kind of watches. Like they wear an RM and they want something, let's say, higher in horological point of view. They would get something like this. But if you're wearing always something like let's say Recep Recepi and stuff like that, then definitely you would wear the handmade one of them, because that's like, it's just amazing watch.
Yeah. I didn't like the balance here because of the angled mainspring, but it was just a bit too progressive for me, like you say. Yeah, but the handmade one's phenomenal. Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to jump off. I'll catch the replay, and I'll catch up with you guys next time we speak. Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Get well soon, buddy.
Get well
thanks,
soon.
man.
Yes. Bye, JC.
Thanks, Tom, John, and Abdul. I'll see you guys next time. And to the punters, I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.
Take care, my friend.
Take care.
All right, mate.
So
calendar and astronomy is also one of the categories that was very, very hard for me to decide, because the Saraponeva watch, one of my favorite watches of all time. I like the guy a lot. I always talk to him on Instagram when he releases the watches. Really, really cool guy. And but this crayon is just a work of art and engineering. You know, like I'm a guy who, if you have both worlds,
didn't it? It's won the
yeah,
prize.
it won the prize. It has, I think, perpetual calendar, and you can see the sunset and sunrise from the location that you predeterminedly set every day correctly, which is fantastic. It's something that I never saw before in a watch. The watch looks so cool, so clean, even though it has so many complications. It feels like a time-only watch, which what I love the most, but with a perpetual calendar and sunset sunrise complication, which is never saw one before like this, to be honest.
I've never seen that before. No.
And it's so low key. The design of this watch is so amazing, because it looks like a €2,000 watch.
Exactly,
if you don't look closely, and it's just amazing.
It looks like a time-only watch with some kind of two-color bezel, inner bezel, something like this. And then when you look, there is dual time. Oh, there is a date. Oh, there is a day. Oh, there is a month. Oh, sunrise, sunset, and then you see the guilloche in the middle, and then you see the two different colors, and then you see the stars in one of. It's just every time.
And then you turn it around and see the movement finish,
exactly.
and that little piece that can be adjusted then to your current position to show the equation of time. That is just amazing.
Yes,
Thomas, there is a high-end picture of the movement.
Yeah.
And the anglage is really nice. There are some inward angles, and also some crazy shapes that are not usually seen on many movements. So that thing in the middle that looks like a circle or something, that is the adjustable and replaceable part, where you can set the sunset and the sunrise times for your exact locations.
Right. Wow.
Interesting. So how much was this watch? I think
125.
It's over 125, right? Yeah, that's
Yeah, 125.
That's really stealth wealth watch, because you would never say that this watch is 125 from maybe 1.5 meters away, let's say.
So was this your choice that you went with, Abdul?
Yes, because it was very hard, because, like I said, the Saraponeva, I love it. It's really cool, really good complication.
The Saraponeva as well. Yeah, multi-layered
when it lights up.
Yeah.
The loom is
I don't
fantastic.
like the Saraponeva at all, because it gives me nightmares. It's just a mood that I really don't enjoy. I appreciate what he's doing, and it's recognizable instantly, but it's just too spooky for my taste.
It was apparently originally inspired by old theatrical sceneries, especially the ones of tiny travelling theatres, capable of creating grand illusions. And the dial loom defect is made with 233 openings, hand painted in 8 colours of superluminova. So travelling theatres obviously give you nightmares, Jonathan.
No, it is the owl and that spooky moon.
The spooky moon, yeah.
But I love owls. Actually, when I was in Geneva, there were a group of people that had little eagles and 2 giant owls on their hands, and everybody could see them, and the kids were all crazy about them. And it's the first time I saw an owl so close, and I was fascinated about their claws, because they're as big as human hands. Their claws of a real big owl. It was really fascinating. So I like the owls. I like the effect that he does there, but it gives me nightmares. It gives me a bad vibe.
It's my favorite moon phase display. Other
Yeah.
than if you have like a gem setting, like a meteorite or something like that, would looks fantastic. But this one is just somehow different, like very different.
Yeah, I agree, Abdul. Yeah, it's really is a quiet taste, but just the way that the moon is there, and it's all hand painted, and it's artwork again. It's
no, and it's unique. It is
exactly.
unique and
Exactly.
instantly recognizable. Nobody does it like him, and that is what I applaud him for.
Yeah, the case shape, the moon phase, everything is unique for him. Like when you see it, you know, this is Sarapaneva.
Yeah. So the mechanical exception. That was
again, this is very hard.
2.
Yeah,
the Ferdinand
this
2, and this is the one that won, and this is the one I'd stick with. But I don't know what you'd go with.
I went with this one because you cannot get better than that.
You can't, can you? You really can. I mean,
it's just work of art and engineering combined, done correctly to the point. Like it looks like a perfect watch in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the turbine regulator fusing chain transmission incorporates for the first time a stop seconds mechanism and an independent deadbeat seconds. The complication was developed by a young apprentice watchmaker, which is part of the Ferdinand Berthoud tradition, and he devoted his graduation project to it in keeping with FP tradition. And the watch is inspired by the marine clock number 8, known as the HM8, created in 1768 by Ferdinand Berthoud. This unusual clock has a regulator-type display, which made it possible to improve the reading of time and serve as reference for seaborne navigation measurements. And this is the role of timekeeping instruments in the true sense of the term. And it's just mind-blowing. Features Ferdinand Berthoud's patented pillar-type architecture, in which both the barrel and the inverted fusee are suspended. The fusee chain mechanism is inspired by that of Ferdinand Berthoud's marine chronometers. It ensures the distribution of energy by delivering constant force to the patented turbine and direct drive seconds. And the watch offers present-day take on a regulator-type principle in terms of display and operation. And the hours are read off a rotating disc at 2 o'clock. The minutes are indicated on the subdial at 12 o'clock. And for precision, the second hand has a central position on the watch face, which is the deadbeat seconds. It's just mind-blowing, I find. What do you think, Jonathan?
I have nothing to say further. This is the well-deserved winner. This is such a stunning watch. I just want to step back and just remind you how Ferdinand Berthoud has started. One of my main beefs with people who don't know very much about watches, there is a bad word that they're using, Phoenix brands. So Ferdinand Berthoud is a Phoenix brand from the best example. It is a Phoenix brand. Yes, it's an old name. It has been dead. And then Mr. Schäufele from Chopard, who owns a small company. They're not a giant player. They have very high-end clients, and they're certainly well off. First of all, Mr. Schäufele employs Michel Parmigiani to work over his Chopard movement, the manufacturer movement. Then he gets the rights for Ferdinand Berthoud and puts out this kind of watch with this kind of movement out from scratch, out from nothing. And that deserves my highest respect, to have this kind of vision, to have this kind of qualification, to have this kind of taste. There is nothing that I can say negative about Ferdinand Berthoud. It's just amazing what they have achieved in a couple of years. That was a comment about the owls, about the claws
The
of the
owls.
owls.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I think this watch, and even that they put the student his let's say finished project with a new innovation
Yep.
in the watch. This just shows you that they're not like a closed mentality, which most watch manufacturers are like. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
this is a master watchmaker. What he says and what he does is the best. No, they took a student because he has a new innovation. Let's put it in the watch. Let's see how it looks, how it feels, and I respect them so much for that as well.
Yeah. I mean, Ferdinand Bettu, one of my favorite brands. I mean, I love the historical element and the past that they've had, and the fact that he trained Abraham Louis Breguet, and just fascinating stuff. But like you say, they are a Phoenix brand, Jonathan. But Chopard, just they're faithfully trying to recreate the type of watches that Ferdinand Bettu are keeping.
Yeah, but who cares if they're a Phoenix brand or not? If the results are like that, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it's the same with Chapek. Just look at the passion, what they do. They have no connection to the old Chapek. Doesn't matter because they're just doing outstanding watches. So this entire discussion about Phoenix brands, there are other brands who have struggled for decades. So what does it say if you have a long tradition or not? If you're able to shell out those amazing timepieces, you have all my respect, and all that talk about Phoenix brand is just nonsense.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, so what more can we say about the Ferdinand Bettu, apart from it's mind-blowing, amazing.
Amazing watch. I really like Bulgari Audacity prize. They gave it like a consolation prize because it's an amazing watch. I have to say, Bulgari, since they came out with the Octofinissimo, they just squeezed every kind of design out of the case shape that they have. They put everything out, and every year you think, okay, what can they come up now? And then they get like a chronograph GMT in the same watch and a 6.7 millimeters thickness, and you're like, what? That's so thin for a chronograph GMT. And here you have a combination of a modern technology where you have a barcode, blockchain technology that the watches won't be saved and so on, and never forged. But at the same time, you have a totally thin watch that has a function that is legible, not like the RM one that you cannot read it actually, or it looks horrible for a lot of people that saw it in person, and still 1.5 million or something like that. For me, if you want to buy a thin watch, Octofinissimo is the line to get. I had a couple of them on my wrist, and they're really, really nice. But they just need a little bit bigger wrist than mine. I have a 17.1 centimeter wrist, and I think maybe an 18 centimeter wrist and above would be better off.
Yeah, this QR code's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, baffled me a little bit, but it's part of the registration, is it, of the watch?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So, Jonathan, we'll move on to you and your picks. And we've got the chronograph, which was the Gronefeld chronograph one. That was the winning piece. And I don't know whether you chose something apart from this.
I chose the chronograph. When we saw those pictures of this particular watch the first time, I was not a fan visually. In my opinion, the dial looks a little bit like a mess with randomly placed subdials that don't make much sense. But in real life, this watch looks really good. The contrast between that lower dial and the subdials is not that big. and it's a visually very pleasing watch in a very reasonable diameter of 40 millimeters. So it's a relatively small chronograph. Compared to the Max Büsser sequential chronograph, which won the grand prize, this is a very subdued and very discreet watch. The watchmaking on the case back is superb, like always. With the Grönefeld brothers, they have their own signature of how to finishing the bridges, which I like because it's a modern approach. So there is nothing to be negative about that. That roller mechanism, the zero return mechanism, is just fine. We couldn't try it out for known reasons. So we couldn't try that out in Geneva, unfortunately. I would have loved to do that. But I think there are some videos out there of the reset process. Maybe we can show the viewers, because the reset process, the reset takes a little bit like a second, so it doesn't go zuck. It moves gentler. Grönefeld solved a problem that doesn't really exist, because they say it puts less stress on the movement. Not sure if that is really true, but they made a unique approach on their chronograph, and I applaud them for that.
Yeah, my choice as well.
Thomas, could you find the video, or should I try to find one?
Could you bring that up, Jonathan?
1 second, I'll try to find one.
Yeah, I think I even chose this in another show. We had like a top 10 or top 5 great watches, and this was one of my all-time favorite watches, because Grönefeld makes my number 2 favorite watches, the 1941 Remontoir.
Oh, that's amazing! I love that one. Yeah,
it's just mesmerizing for me when you look at the 8-second Remontoir and how it restarts, and this one just looks fantastic. And for them to make their first chronograph and just win directly the GPHG award against the other competitions, which are not like easy competition, it just shows you how Grönefeld brothers have in their arsenal. I think there is like a top echelon of watchmakers, and Grönefeld is up there. Is definitely up there with Kari Voutilainen and FP Jouard and on all these people, where you have like, this is the top echelon, and it's such a pleasure and honor to live in the time where we have so many watchmakers that are making these kinds of watches.
Yeah, like Jonathan said, it's a bit all over the place for me. I find it a bit discombobulating. It's a bit sort of a bit all over the place. I think Jonathan's got a video of
yes.
It. I'll just
and I agree with Maison about the Phoenix brands as well.
Here you can get an idea how uniformly silver the dial shines, and the movement finish is just superb.
Wow. Yeah, it looks a lot better in the metal than the renders.
Yeah. That was one of the surprises that we had in Geneva, and say it again, it was well worth the trip to Geneva just to see those in real life. Here you can see the reset mechanism.
Wow.
It's like a Remontoir is putting the extra force that it had, and then actually everything is set up, right?
It is a kind of how do you say that, clutch. It's a kind of clutch that slows it down. So you put that rotating brake. I don't know. It's called a kernel, I think. You put that in place, and the reset of a chronograph usually is working like that. You have a heart shaped kind of thing under the second hand, and then the hammer falls, and that resets then the hand to the center. And what Grönefeld has is two ruby rollers. So it's not metal on metal. It is 2 ruby rollers that smoothen out that process. 1 second, I'll try to find you a picture. Ruby rollers.
Yeah, it's a beautiful watch, and I really love the snake leather, python leather strap. Looks really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it does look a lot better. I must admit, now seeing that video, it looks a lot better in the metal than it does in these renders, because it just looks a bit all over the place in a render.
Yes.
But seeing it metal,
Yeah.
it looks a lot.
But that happens very often, I must say, on watches, one way or the other one. So sometimes they look better on the rendering than on the picture, than in real life, and vice versa. So you never know, and that is part of the excitement. So one second, I have here an article from Monochrome in the background, and I think I can show you the roller mechanism. Yeah. Thomas, can you pull that up? So here we have the movement, and here you can see two ruby rollers. And those ruby rollers go to those heart-shaped things below the central hand and below that minute counter that you have. So it is not that metal hits on metal. Those ruby rollers smoothly engage with those two heart-shaped reset mechanisms, and that is the innovation that the Grönefeld brothers did with that chronograph.
Wow.
Was it understandable?
Yeah, it looks amazing as well. That the movement just looks so complex and yet so elegant. You know, like sometimes you feel like it's too complex, but this is just so elegant in design.
Yeah, what they also do, and they started with that. So the bridge decoration, they have raised edges, and then they have a sandblasted base, which is recessed, and then they angle the outer edges in a very nice anglage. It is a mirror anglage. It's not a rounded anglage. So it gives it a very modern vibe and a very unique vibe. Both the Grönefeld brothers used to work for Renault et Papy. So they certainly know their stuff.
Wow.
I think the Grönefeld brothers also worked on the Lange Tourbillon.
Yeah, certainly the fascinating one.
Okay, so that is my chronograph choice.
I think the next one is the diver.
So, yeah, next one is the diver category, and the Tudor was the winner, the Tudor FXD, which was a worthy winner. It's a nice watch. It's titanium. It's yeah, and as you said, Abdul, when Tudor enter something, they always seem to win. Keeps them happy.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when Tea and Tickers was very new on YouTube. He was in touch with me about a couple of watches that he was thinking to buy, and I remember that he came up with that FXD, and I told him to buy it immediately. Yeah. He was a little bit worried about the premium that was involved, but in the end he got a very good price, and I know how much he loves it. So it's a
great watch. Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing, and I'm totally happy for him that he's still happy with him. I tease him all the time. He has the 21 engraving on the case back, and I keep on teasing him on every occasion that the 22 edition is more worth valuable. So his 21 edition is basically worthless because it's outdated.
I know the ID guy has the 22 edition.
Okay.
He really likes it. He loves the FXC that he's got. He really wears that a lot, and yeah, it's a great watch. Like I say,
What
was your choice? What was your choice, sir?
Actually, I didn't like any one of those really much, and in my opinion, that divers section is really pointless unless you have a true innovation. So they should get rid of that divers category unless they have a spectacular piece, just like the Rolex Deep Sea Challenge or something like that. Because okay, the RTA is nice, but it's based on the deeper you go, the less of the color spectrum you see. So you can see the kind of depth that you're in based on the disappearing colors. The Breitling is nice. It's a re-edition. Okay, Thomas, I know you love the Doxa and it has a great history, but there's no real innovation. It's a re-edition of that Army watch. Grand Seiko, I love Grand Seiko, but I can't love their divers. Sorry, the Tag Heuer Aquarizer, okay. The Tudor Pelagos, yes, it's the best of the lot in my opinion. But all those 6 watches really leave me cold, to be honest.
Really?
So you asked me to pick and choose, and I chose the Tudor, but it doesn't really excite me, just like some of the other watches.
Yeah, I must say, I went with the Doxa. Love it, and it's just in 1969 they actually made this for the Swiss Army and Swiss Army diary unit, and it's a lovely one. I really like this.
Yeah.
You know what drives me mad about, or really angry about this watch? That they left away their signature thing, that their patent, that their innovation on divers watch, and it's not there on this particular watch, and that really makes me upset.
Really?
You know, that split bezel where divers could calculate based on the maximum depth. That is not there, and in my opinion, that bezel is so typically Doxa. I understand it. Army watch is not a diver's watch, but it just infuriates me that they left out this special part that nobody else has.
I agree.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The 300T had that bezel which was distinctive to Doxa.
Yep.
And but yeah, you got a good point there. They've obviously done this countdown bezel for some reason, and but I like it. It's a ceramic watch, and obviously the original wasn't ceramic, but they've mixed it up a little bit with the materials to keep it true to the original, which was, I think, oil covered or some such material, because they didn't have PVD or DLC coating then, and when they made it, but
I think it's the same crap just like they did back then with the Porsche design watches. So it was not really sustainable.
But I'm a big fan of this watch. I really like it. It only came out in 100 pieces, but they've now brought out the steel version, haven't they? With that, which isn't black. So you went with the Tudor.
Yeah.
So we'll move on, seeing as that's not a popular category.
Yeah.
To the jewelry.
Yes.
And the winner was the Bulgari Serpentine, which is a very popular watch. It's a very popular. It's been going quite along the Serpentine, and you can see the snake's mouth opens, and you got the dial in there. And what was your pick then, Jonathan, for the jewelry?
I am ashamed to say that it was the Tag Heuer.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Just because of the way that the diamonds are set in the side of that aluminum case, I just love it, what they did. It is not that typical splattering with puffy diamonds. It is a different approach of doing that, and I just visually like that. All the other jeweled watches are nice, and some are nostalgic, some are a little bit progressive, but I have the feeling that all the other contestants, we've seen that before. We haven't seen that before.
Interesting. Yeah, this is very, very plain and simple, this one, isn't it?
There is one picture where you can see it from the sides. Yeah, the third one. That shows a little bit how how nicely the diamonds are set.
And yeah, it's a cool innovation from Tag Heuer, I have to say, but it's a 45 millimeters watch with a 15.6 millimeter thickness. That's a big hockey puck on the wrist. Y2K would love this watch, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think, if, like you said, Jonathan, from an innovation point of view, it's a great watch. Because I didn't see this gem setting type before, and it's one of these watches when from far away you would think, oh, that's a normal chronograph, and then the nearer you go, you would see the more details and you start to appreciate it more. But I wouldn't have chosen, to be honest.
They also used a kind of artificial diamond for the dial, polycrystalline, which is also neat. But yeah. Maybe I was just protesting. As far as I remember, the Bulgari won several prizes already in that section. So it's a little bit boring.
Not a new line.
Yeah, it's a little bit boring to see.
Exactly, from a long time, you know.
Yeah, so the visually striking most was, in my opinion, that Chopard Peacock watch, which really looks outstanding, but it's still it's a diamond covered watch, and I find that Tag Heuer really cool.
I went with the Piaget, to be honest.
I was just going to say I went also with the Piaget, because this is like a jewelry piece.
This is true jewelry, yeah, because you can actually separate these. It's got these feathers on and the diamonds all over, and you can actually separate, take the feathers off, and use them.
You guys are wrong, because the most impressive piece on this watch has not been mentioned by you guys. And that is the dial. The dial is outstanding in real life. Yeah. Swiss and I, we were standing in front of this this watch, and we were raving about the dial. Forget those emeralds and those sapphires and those diamonds. That dial is just amazing.
Yeah, it looks very, very pleasing to the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what the dial is again.
It's opal.
Opal.
Yeah. But I've never seen
65,000. Wow.
I've never seen an opal that lively and that catching, I must say. It is amazing.
Yeah, it looks really nice, and it complements the gem settings so well.
Yeah.
It looks like a very consistent, homogeneous piece.
Yeah.
We have Russell here in the house. Now we must behave, because Russell knows his stuff. So Russell is happy to point out all the mistakes that I made during such a live show. So usually he texts me, this was wrong, Higgins, you're an idiot. No, he doesn't say that. But
yeah, but I really, as I say, I really like the PJ, and that was my favorite.
So Russ, you just missed that I put up a Tag Heuer as my favorite watch in one of the categories.
In this
will lose all the
favorite jewelry watch as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we got the Artistic Crafts Watch prize, and we've got a master watchmaker who won the this prize.
Yeah, well deserved.
Kari Voutilainen. And yeah, this is a stunning one. This You could say that the Beauvais was nice because it takes more than 120 hours to engrave the movement and make the 100 hours to engrave Beauvais master engraver in an in-house workshop, and the Madonna on the other side is a hand-painted mother of pearl taking more than 40 hours to finish. And there's a patented flying tourbillon which has a power reserve of 7 days. However, the Caribou Selenium takes months to the Japanese lacquer created by one of the greatest lacquer artists in Japan. The dial on this watch, using techniques of lacquering by Salemaki and Samata Zeiku, takes several months to complete and a lot longer than the Beauvais. The raw materials used in the creation of this dial are gold dust, gold leaf, shell of great green turban, yakogai, and awabi gai, which is abalone shell from New Zealand. And these elements of tradition and Swiss horology creations of Caribou Lanians represent, they say, mechanical and visual work of art that unites East and West in perfect harmony, which is quite sweet. And
it is absolutely outstanding. All those little elements, those are small pieces of those shells or gold particles. So those are all little sticks that are put together in endless hours, and that they create that radiant effect, and it's just mind-blowing. It's also mind-blowing in real life, I must say.
It's a world timer as well, so it's got a function. It's got a real function as well. So I don't know whether this was your choice, was it, Jonathan?
It was well deserved winner.
Yeah, my choice as well. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Could we look at the back also, Tom?
Yeah, I mean,
Russell puts the right word. It's micro mosaic.
Yeah, that's what totally true. Totally true. Exactly.
But out of very different materials, and I think to craft those little mosaic pieces out of those different material is an art of its own. Then you have to have a plan how to align them, because you just can't glue them together. You have to you're trying to get a certain visual effect in the larger picture, but to achieve that, you must be very strategic on a smaller scale.
Yeah, totally agree. It's just one of these watches, when you see it, you know that a lot of hard work done by master watchmakers and master artisan was done and to put this watch together.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And let's not forget that watch is 39 millimeter, and we are talking about the inside dial of a world timer. So that dial is really small. You know that I'm just working on a world timer project, and I had those separate dials in hand, and it's just amazing how small they are, because outside you have then the 24-hour ring, then you have the city ring, and then you have the end of the case. So those dials are really tiny, and to put that number of mosaic pieces then into that dial is just amazing.
Yeah, truly beautiful watch. What a dial!
You can see you have that hour ring around the dial. Then you have the city ring. So the dial diameter is not like from a 39 millimeter watch. It is probably like a 30 millimeter watch. That would be the dial size.
Yeah. Beautiful. What was it like to actually see in the metal, this one, Jonathan?
Oh yeah. Swiss and I, we couldn't leave.
Yeah, beautiful.
And that is a piece unique as far as I know.
Yep.
Yes, it is only one piece. So what are the odds that you come across with this particular watch anymore?
Exactly.
That's rare. Yeah. I don't think anybody will see it after the event. The new buyer will just keep it for themselves.
Yeah, just the amount of cool and outstanding watches, and the chance, the privilege to view all of them at one place was just a unique chance. And the more I think of it, the more I can encourage everyone to go to Geneva next year when the GPHG is out there. If you have love for watches, there is no better place to see this mass of amazing watches at one place. Well worth the trip.
Absolutely.
The only criticism is that we couldn't see the movements. So it would have been nice if we could flip them over and see the movements.
Well, it's enough to see the watches in themselves. I mean, just to be able to see them and to flip over the Chaumet's diamonds.
Yeah.
It was Swiss, it was not me.
So we'll move on to the Petit Aiguille Award, and this one was won by the Trilobe. I don't know what you think of this one.
That is one of the better Trilobe in my opinion, but my heart was out for a different watch.
Yeah, I picked a different one as well. And I think it might be the same one that you went
Probably,
for.
Probably, yes, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I went for the Gelfman.
Yes.
Me as well.
Yes. And I have to admit, we pushed the button to engage. So, and the guides didn't see it. And it's just cool. You press that little button below with those 3 stripes, and that activates the time display. As far as I know, those are glass tubes from a Russian company, and that was basically the first time that you had an analog display. So those are little wires, just like with a traditional light bulbs.
Yeah, the Nixie tube is one of the oldest and retro-futuristic of digital display technology. So a glass tube containing a wire mesh.
Do you know that they're still doing them, or are they those old?
Multiple cathodes. I'm not too sure. When powered, they become glowing orange numbers. These original retro Nixie tubes from the Cold War era, which boast 180 years of lifetime.
Wow.
And Swiss manufacturer Gelfman AG turns them into fantastically retro-futuristic wristwatches. However, with all its dedication to the retro Nixie technology, the IN16, this watch, has both feet firmly in the 21st century, they say. The case conceals an electronic movement comprising more than 100 high-end electronic components. The IN16 watch can be fully controlled and programmed via computer, down to remote software upgrade, by connecting it to a PC on a Mac, and the user can choose preferred Nixie tube backlight, adjust some brightness, and do many more things. So it's almost verging on a smartwatch. The watch can be powered by a rechargeable lithium-ion battery, offering a 7-day power reserve, and a USB and magnetic charging cable provides safe high-speed charging. The hand-polished steel case fitted with crystals and sapphire coating, the streamlined design inspired by space age aesthetic, which showcases the Nixie tubes, which is striking glow in the dark, and just like they were glowing on dashboards of early spacecraft. I think is this the same brand that makes the clock that Tommaso has on behind him on Watches Tonight?
Might be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Russ, Russ posed a question. Maybe we can respond to that. Russ, we were talking about that manufacturers have to pay, I think, 700 Swiss francs to enter the first stage, and if I remember correctly, they have to pay 5,000 if their watch gets selected to the second level. So that is the fee, and there is some discussion that watch companies have to pay, but we all agreed that this is money well spent because you get a certain kind of exposure in return, and this entire event costs a lot of money, and who else should pay for it then? So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but this watch, it looks ugly. It is an ugly thing, but those tubes are just so cool. Yes. You want to fire them up again and again and again, and it's just cool to imagine that all those numbers are inside. So there are 10 numbers: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0 in one tube, and just the technology to do those in one little glass tube is just outstanding. Then you have to control them. Then they last for a very long time. It's just cool, and it's just a cool display, and I totally loved it.
Yeah, Methwich, we should share this on Twitter, but unfortunately I'm not on Twitter, so if you could do that for us, it would be much appreciated. Yeah, dedicated Twitter for the channel to get people in. And yeah, sorry about that. As I say, I'm not on Twitter, so but if you could do that for us, you could share the stream, that would be much appreciated.
You know, Thomas, I could ask my YouTube army to do that, but I'm not going to do that. Just for the viewers, Thomas and I, we were joking because people think that I'm having a troll army that attacks all the other YouTube channels, and truth is, I don't even have WhatsApp.
So this is my choice for the Petit Aiguille prize, and then we go on to the challenge prize, and the Mad Red One won this one. It's a worthy winner. It's a great watch. I've handled one myself, and I really enjoy it. Really did enjoy it. But I thought I'd be a devil's advocate and go for something else. So I've picked the Louis Erard Regulator Second. And they're second, French. It's a French. What would you call them? Customization studio of vintage watches mainly, and they do a lot of. They put very artistic well, I'll read from what my notes I've written down. Second modus operandi is described in the description as Arsène Lupin style appropriation for vintage watches for the Banksy generation. Louis Erard has collaborated with Alan Silverstein, Vianney Halter Atelier, and now Second, and the creator has taken familiar Louis Erard regulator and has drawn from contemporary culture, humor, and self-mockery. The Era 404 is written on the minute hand, and the dial is just like the fault addressing in computer. The hand returns to cross the dial with blue line each time the minute strikes 45 minutes, which is quarter to the hour. The price also has a number on it, which is 2,404 Swiss francs. Not the most standout watch, but I found it quite interesting.
It's very interesting, and I think the Louis Erard is doing super work at the moment. He's pushing this collaborations. He's doing a lot of collaborations together with a lot of people. Like we had Messana, and I think also a couple of their watches, Alan Silberstein, I think also last year. And I really like that he had this Louis Erard as Louis Error, which is very near to the pronunciation of his name. And yeah, I think it's a great choice. I still like the Mad, really nice MBNF styled watch.
Too.
But like you said, like every time people will choose the other one, and I think Louis Erard should get some kind of recognition for the great work he's done in the past couple of years as well.
Yeah, I agree. They moved very, very ahead, because they used to produce very boring and random watches, and I applaud them for doing a different approach and just try to be different.
I mean, with this computer-themed 404 error, I like they've put Louis Error instead of Louis Erard, which is quite funny, you know, and that's seconds styling all over. I don't know if anybody's aware of Second in the chat, and but check them out. Go to the website Second, and yeah, some interesting stuff on there. May not be to everyone's taste, but it's just interesting to see if you're a watch nerd to check it out. So that was my pick for the Challenge Watch Prize. And we come to the last category, the mechanical clock. Now, this was very worthily won by the Van Cleef & Arpels Fontaine or Oiseau automation, which is an automated clock with this. You read the time on the bottom. But these birds and all sorts of fish and petals and lilies and all sorts open up on the top here, and it's amazing. The birds move around, their feathers open, their heads move. It's a really fascinating clock to see, but I chose a different one because this was I found this one was more absolutely mind blowing. I went for the Mickey. Let me just written down Mickey Elita clock.
Yeah,
and this is a 325,000 Swiss francs if you've got it. This one, the table clock 37, the passage of time, handmade in brass, 70 centimeters tall, 30 centimeters thick, so it's almost a meter tall. Manual winding movement, skeleton movement. It's 192 hours power reserve, and the functions on it are hours, minutes, day, date, month, year, moon phases, power reserve indicator, retrograde minutes, world time, automation, special escapement, day, night, elite escapement, sun position display, and it's mind blowing. It honestly really is. There's one piece unique in this series. And about every 20 seconds, a figure of a walking man lifts his left arm and lowers its head to read the time. A figure is mechanically automated machine with an own drive. In front of the figure, a symbol rotates on a windscreen axis formed by an X and an S. X stands for chronos, Greek for time, and the letter S forms an 8. Due to the rapid rotation, the symbol for infinity. The clock features a retrograde minute display on the right with a blue background. The hour is shown on the left with a rotating skeletonized dial. The small sun and moon symbols indicate day and night hours. The days of the week with their planetary symbols, Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn, are indicated on the smaller skeletonized disc on the right above the center. The time of day can also be read here as days of the week, shifting quarter steps. The large skeletonized disc rotates in 365th per day. The silver hand on the left above the hour disc indicates a date, the constellations, and the change of the zodiac signs. In the inner circle, agricultural activities are shown through the course of the year. The three-dimensional representation of the moon phase on the left behind the large disc must be corrected every 128 years. The skeletonized globe rotates above it, displaying the world time represented by 24 meridians. And the sun symbol shows the position of the sun as it appears seen from the earth over the course of the year, elliptic. And it rises and falls by 1/365th per day due to the rotation of a large disk. And I'll just try and see if I can call up the video.
That's actually also my choice. I met Mickey a couple of times in Basel World in the AHCI booth, where he always displayed his clocks and his storytelling. When he always like gives a story about the watch and explains it, and it's just fascinating. Such passion and such engagement with the people, just explaining the watch and telling his mind process, thought behind creating each piece. And when you see it in person, it's amazing. I didn't see this one in person, but I saw his previous creations, and really cool guy, really funny guy as well, interactive with the people. So I would have been also okay if this one won.
Yeah, you can just see here the man lifting his arm there, and the size of this clock with the zodiac signs on the outside.
Yeah, it's super nicely skeletonized, everything, and apparently everything by hand.
Faris, how are you?
Thomas, before you're asking, we didn't touch this particular clock.
That would be definitely thrown out then.
The funny thing is, the other clock by Van Cleef and Arpels was so protected that you couldn't see anything, because there was a motion detector. If you came too close, an alarm sound started. Wow. And there was no way to see the clock, because it was away maybe 2 meters from yourself, and it was on an elevated shelf, so you couldn't see what was going on. And when you moved your head forwards just to get closer, then the alarm sound came.
Oof. Yeah, that's not nice. Yeah, I think because of all the precious stones on it and all the stuff, people are like, somebody might grab some kind of stone quickly.
The guards were very careful with that one. Yeah, but I wanted to come back to those clockmakers. I would guess that the market for those high-end clocks is very limited. Very small, and you have to appreciate those artisans who put those endless hours, their passion, their love, their effort into those masterpieces, probably not knowing if there is a collector out there who wants such a watch, such a clock. Sven Andersen, we've been meeting up with Sven Andersen, and he told us a story about a watchmaker who is now famous, or who became very successful. And he told us the guy was presenting a tourbillon wristwatch in Basel, but he was sleeping on an air mattress at relatives 200 kilometers away from Basel, just to be able to present his stuff in Basel. So you never know what is the background of those guys that you can see at the independent exhibition or something like that. Some really struggle to make a living out of what they're doing, and they're really willing to sacrifice a lot to show us those incredible example. Not everybody is as rich as Van Cleef and Arpels.
Yeah, I don't think it'd come with a glass dome, Russell. I think it's too big to come with a glass dome.
Yeah, there was no glass dome on this particular clock.
Yeah, I think all his pieces that I saw had no kind of cover over it, just pure open mechanics that you can look from anywhere.
Hyperfire, good to see you. Yeah, so that was the roundup, really. That was the roundup so far. I mean, there were more prizes that I didn't cover, which were the
chronometry prize, horological revelation, the audacity, and the innovation. And I think the special jury,
jury prize, But
I think we covered also all the watches that had the other, because they were watches that stood out in their categories but didn't win, which I thought okay, but I think the judges solved this pretty elegantly by giving them an even higher prize, where you compete with every watch on all the categories, and when you win this, that means, like for the innovation prize for the Van Cleef & Arpels, the one that we show with the flowers, that deserves the innovation prize, that deserves to be awarded, or the audacity, let's say, for the Bulgari, where you have such a thin watch and a combination of new technology and old watchmaking with let's say another appreciation for thin watches. And I think they solved this quite well by let's say awarding these 4 watches these 4 awards.
Yeah, this could be a huge issue with clocks, Russell. You're right, but
yeah, that might be.
I guess if you can afford to buy it, you can afford a cleaner.
Yeah, 350,000 francs for a clock that you leave on the side of your, let's say, living room or office. So I guess you'd have to have some kind of cleaning plan for it.
So we've covered a lot of the watches so far from the GPHG. I know that Jonathan and Swiss are going to be doing their John and Swiss show, and I've just put a link in to their show. They're going to be doing a show this evening at 8 p.m. GMT. Is that right? Or 9 p.m. GMT?
Yes, 8 p.m. GMT. Should be
8 p.m. GMT, yeah. So they're going to be doing a show tonight, which is going to be covering a lot of the GPHG stuff that Jonathan's been talking about, their visit to Geneva.
Actually, we will be covering 3 different topics in Geneva. One will be the GPHG, but not intensively, just like we did now, which I really appreciate. We had 3 highlights. First of all, the GPHG contestants. The second highlight was meeting up at Sven Andersen for an entire afternoon. Mr. Andersen took the time to tell us a story about the brands. He told us so many anecdotes, and we made some progress on the world timer that I'm working on, which will be also covered on the Swiss and John show. And then I had a very interesting adventure. I had to kill some time on Sunday morning, and I walked across the Breguet boutique in Geneva, and I saw a man with a white lab coat explaining to some people on old machines. And I thought, oh, holy crap, he's explaining guillochage, how to make the guillochage on a dial. And I went in, and the lady tried to brush me off and told me, you can return at 3 o'clock this afternoon. And I told her at 3 o'clock, my plane is leaving back to Germany. So she shrugged her shoulders, but then the guy with the lab coat came to me, approached me, and talked to me, and he told me, "You can come back in 20 minutes, and I'm going to show it to you." And this guy spent 3 hours. He's the master guillocheur at Breguet. He took 3 hours to explain me the art of guillochage.
Wow.
I could partly
That's
do
really
my
nice.
own guillochage on a brass dummy. And he's doing that every 14 days at the Breguet Geneva boutique. And everybody who is remotely interested in the guillochage, that is something that you guys shouldn't miss, because this guillochage is so difficult. It's so complex to do. I know it now from first-hand experience, and of course I ruined the dial by not being careful. So this is an experience that is very deep in my heart, and that was very impressive.
Yeah, I did it in Basel World 2018. They had the machine and the guy with the lab coat, and I did one dial, which I have still until now. And I totally agree. It's just you look at the eye, and then with the lace machine, and then
Exactly,
you go.
yeah.
And, wow, it's just
You have
an amazing
you have
experience.
two different jobs on two different hands. You have to focus your eyes on a microscope, and you have to find the entry point for the tool. It's just amazing how difficult that is. And then you have to do it constantly as well, because if you push too hard or too soft, then the dial is crap and you start all over again.
Wow. Fascinating. So tune into that show, guys. Yeah. So all I can say is to everyone is thanks for joining. Thanks to JCB earlier for his input. That was great. And thanks Abdul. And thanks to Jonathan for joining us. And
thanks, JJ. Thanks,
Thank you
everybody in
for
the
having
chat.
me on, and thank you very much for everybody in the audience who listened so patiently to us. I hope that it was not too boring for you guys.
yeah. Yeah. Thank you to everyone. Thanks, JJ. Thanks, Mason. Thanks, Russell. Thanks, everyone, for joining in. LA Methwich, Bafaris. Yeah, everyone. I'm trying to remember you all. Orange Hand, all the guys who joined in. Flipping Depot. And all there is left to say is goodbye, really. Yeah, and see you in a fortnight. And we'll have to think of a topic to discuss then. So, take care, everyone. And
Take care, everyone.
soon.
Bye-bye.